Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Did you take some time on the weekend to relax, to have some fun? Did you notice if there were any triggers in your life? If a bell rang, it startled you. If someone called you out, you instantly got upset. We have an automatic reaction system quite often in life. And Dr. Maxwell Maltz addresses that in his book Psycho-Cybernetics, and he calls it an over-response, and that it's a bad habit that can be cured. He says, let us suppose that as you read this, you are sitting quietly in your office. Suddenly, the phone rings. From habit and experience, this is a signal or a stimulus that you have learned to obey. Without thinking, you make a conscious decision about the matter. You respond to it. You jump up from your comfortable seat and hurry to the phone. The outside stimulus has had an effect of moving you. It has changed your mental set and your position or self-determined course of action. You were all set to spend the hour sitting quietly and relaxed, reading. You were inwardly organized for this. Now all this suddenly changed by your response to the external stimulus in the environment. He wants to make the point that you don't have to answer the phone. You do not need to obey. You can, if you choose, totally ignore the phone. You can, if you choose, continue sitting quietly and relaxed, maintaining your own original state of organization by refusing to respond to that signal. Get this mental picture clearly in your mind, for it can be quite helpful in overcoming the power of external stimuli to disturb you. See yourself sitting quietly, letting the phone ring, ignoring its signal, unmoved by its command. Although you are aware of it, you no longer mind it or obey it. Also, get clearly in your mind the fact that the outside signal in itself has no power over you, no power to move you. In the past, you obeyed it, responded to it purely out of habit. You can, if you wish, form a new habit of not responding. Also notice that your failure to respond does not consist in doing something or making an effort or resisting or fighting, but in simply doing nothing, in relaxing from doing. You merely relax. You ignore the bell, the signal, the phone, and the ding. You let its summons go by unheeded. Today, more than ever, it's vital to address the bad habit of over-response, to relax from doing when we are assaulted by the stimuli of email, text, and all manner of electronic communications. So in much the same way that you automatically obey or respond to the ring of a phone, we all became conditioned to respond in a certain way to various stimuli in our environment. The word conditioning in psychological circles grew out of Pavlov's well-known experiments, where he conditioned a dog to salivate at the sound of a bell by ringing it just before presenting food to the dog. This procedure was repeated many times. First, the sound of the bell. A few seconds later, the appearance of food. The dog learned to respond to the sound of the bell by salivating in anticipation of the food. Originally, the response made sense. The bell signified that food was forthcoming, and the dog got ready by salivating. However, after the process was repeated a number of times, the dog would continue to salivate whenever the bell was rung, whether the food or not, whether food was immediately forthcoming or not. The dog had now become conditioned to salivate at the mere sound of the bell. His response made no sense and served no good purpose, but he continued to respond in the same way out of habit. There are many bells, dings, disturbing stimuli in our various environmental situations that we have become conditioned to and that we continue to respond to out of habit, whether or not the response makes any sense. Many people learn to fear strangers, for example, because of parental admonitions to have nothing to do with strange people. Do not accept candy from a stranger. Do not get into a car with a stranger. The response of avoiding strangers serves a good purpose in small children, but many people continue to feel ill at ease and uncomfortable in the presence of any stranger, even when they know that he comes as a friend instead of a foe. Strangers become the bells, and the learned response becomes fear, avoidance, or the desire to run away. Have you ever gone into a situation where you are meeting people for the first time? It might be a networking event, and someone there has something that you really want. This is a good person for you to meet. Maybe it would be a great business associate. Maybe it would be your future spouse or a close friend that you cherish for the rest of your life. And yet you walk into a room full of people and your hands are clammy, you're sweating, you're stuttering. They introduce themselves and you can't remember your name. That's a triggered response that you learned to protect yourself from strangers. Maxwell Maltz says, still another person may respond to crowds, closed spaces, open spaces, persons in authority, such as the boss, by feelings of fear and anxiety. Maybe you're afraid of authority figures. In each case, the crowd, the closed space, the open space, the boss, whatever you're afraid of, acts as a ding, a bell that says, danger is present, run away, feel afraid, and out of habit, we continue to respond in the same way. We obey the bell. But we can extinguish those conditioned responses if we make a practice of relaxing instead of reacting. We can, if we wish, just as in the case of the telephone, learn to ignore the bell, the prompt, and continue to sit quietly and just let it ring. A key thought that we carry with us to use whenever we are confronted by any disturbing stimulus is to say to ourselves, the phone is ringing, but I do not have to answer it. I can just let it ring. This thought will key into your mental picture. Key into your mental picture of yourself sitting quietly, relaxed, unresponding, doing nothing, letting the telephone ring unheeded, and it will act as a trigger or a clue to call up the same attitude that you had when letting the telephone ring. You might find it difficult at first to ignore the bell, especially if it's rung unexpectedly. It startles you. You can accomplish the same final result, the extinction of the conditioning, by delaying your response. Delaying the response breaks up and interferes with the automatic workings of conditioning. You could say, I'll think about that later. I'll answer that. I'll get that later. Or if something is really bothering you, I will worry about that tomorrow. Counting to 10 when you're tempted to become angry is based on the same principle. If you count slowly and, in fact, actually delay the response rather than merely holding in your anger, shouting or pounding your desk, the response in anger consists more than shouting or desk beating. The tension in your muscles is a response. You cannot feel the emotion of anger or fear if your muscles remain perfectly relaxed. If you can delay feeling angry for 10 seconds, delay responding at all, you can extinguish the automatic reflex. The positive effects of counting to 10 when you are tempted to be angry, the 10-second delay, can also be greatly enhanced by inhaling and exhaling deeply while paying attention to your breath. 3 inhales and 3 exhales is easy enough to take a step back and create the space to approach the situation differently. When you feel that you have to run away, you might say to yourself, okay, but not this very minute. I will delay leaving the room for 2 minutes. I can refuse to obey for 2 minutes. Physical relaxation is so important. Relaxing your muscles brings about mental relaxation or a peaceful, relaxed attitude. Physical relaxation is a powerful disinhibitor. Relaxation means no response. In your daily practice of relaxation, you are learning disinhibition as well as providing yourself with nature's own do-it-yourself tranquilizer, which you can take with your daily activities. Protect yourself from disturbing stimuli by maintaining the relaxed attitude. Marcus Aurelius said, "Men seek retreats for themselves, houses in the country, seashores and mountains, and thou too art wont to desire such things very much. But this is altogether a mark of the most common sort of men, for it is in thy power, whenever thou shalt choose, to retire into thyself. For nowhere, either with more quiet or more freedom from trouble, does a man retire than into his own soul, particularly when he has within him such thoughts that by looking into them, he is immediately in perfect tranquility. And I affirm that tranquility is nothing else than the good ordering of the mind. Constantly then give to thyself this retreat and renew thyself." During the last days of World War II, someone commented to President Harry Truman that he appeared to bear up under the stress and strain of the presidency better than any previous president, that the job did not appear to have aged him or sapped his vitality, and this was rather remarkable, especially in view of the many problems that confronted him as a president during the war. His answer was, "I have a foxhole in my mind." He went on to say that just as a soldier retreated into his foxhole for protection, rest, and recuperation, President Truman periodically retired into his own mental foxhole where he allowed nothing to bother him. Whenever you have a few spare moments during the day, between appointments or while riding the bus, retire into your quiet room. Whenever you begin to feel tension mounting or feel hurried or harried, retire into your quiet room for a few moments. Just a few minutes taken from a very busy day in this manner will more than pay for themselves. It is not time wasted, but time invested. Say to yourself, "I'm going to rest a bit in my quiet room." Then, in your imagination, see yourself climbing the stairs to your room. Dr. Maxwell Maltz even suggests, say to yourself, "I am now climbing the stairs. Now I am opening the door. Now I am inside." In your imagination, notice all the quiet, restful details. See yourself sitting down in your favorite chair, utterly relaxed and at peace with the world. Your room is secure. Nothing can touch you here. There is nothing to worry about. You left your worries at the foot of the stairs. There are no decisions to be made here, no hurry, no bother. Yes, this is escapism, and you need a certain amount of escapism. Sleep is escapism. Carrying an umbrella in the rain is escapism. Building yourself an actual house where you can retreat from the weather and the elements is escapism, and taking a vacation is escapism. Our nervous system needs a certain amount of escapism. It needs some freedom and protection from the continual bombardment of external stimuli. Your soul and your nervous system need a room for rest, recuperation, and protection every bit as your physical body needs a physical house for the same reasons. Your mental quiet room gives your nervous system a little vacation every day. For the moment, you mentally vacate your workaday world of duties, responsibilities, decisions, pressures, and get away from it all by mentally retiring into your no pressure chamber. Pictures are more impressive to your automatic mechanism than words. We think in pictures, especially if the picture happens to have a strong symbolic meaning. Many people carry their troubles to bed with them when they should be resting. Mentally and emotionally, they are still trying to do something about a situation when The time of doing is not in order. If you wake up in the morning and go to sleep at night and take a few moments during your day to have a little mini vacation, just to take 3 deep breaths in and let them go. Another deep breath in. Let go of any worry and anxiety. Take a deep breath in and think of all the things that you are grateful for. And let go of any stress and fear and worry. Your entire central nervous system calms down, and then you can think. You can think clearly. You can find solutions. You can focus on, what do I want in this situation? You can cure your old habits of over-response, overreacting. You extinguish old conditioned reflexes when you practice delaying the habitual, automatic, and unthinking triggered response. Think of relaxation as nature's own tranquilizer. Relaxation is non-response. You learn physical relaxation by daily practice. And then when you need to practice non-response in daily activities, you just do what you're doing when you relax. You don't have to allow other people's opinions or anger to trigger you. You can just allow it to go by, just like a cloud in the sky. It just dissipates. And when you don't react, when you don't respond, when you take a deep breath in and let it go, you can use the quiet room in your mind technique both as a daily tranquilizer to tone down your nervous response and to clear your emotional mechanism of emotions that have carried over that would be inappropriate in the situation. Think about the mental picture of what you truly want. Create in your imagination a vivid mental picture of yourself sitting quietly, composed, unmoved, not answering the bell immediately. And then in your daily activities, carry over the same peaceful, composed, unmoved attitude by remembering your mental picture. Say to yourself, I'm letting the phone ring. I'm not responding to that text. Whenever you are tempted to obey or respond to some anxiety producing or fear producing Pavlov's bell, use your imagination to practice non-response in various sorts of situations. Then you can sit unmoved while an associate rants and raves. Can see yourself going through your daily tasks one by one, calmly, composed, unhurried, in spite of any pressures of the busy day. This practice exercise is from Dr. Maxwell Maltz in the book Psycho-Cybernetics. You're training yourself to behave in a composed, calm manner. See yourself maintaining the same constant, stable course in spite of the various hurry bells and pressure bells in your environment. See yourself in various situations that have in the past upset you. Only now you remain set. settled, poised by not responding. Set your course for the day. Decide this is going to be a calm, easy, relaxed day. When you're in the feeling of calm and relaxed, you can think more clearly and you can get more done than when you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. It just works when you are clear-headed, deciding where you're going, setting your compass for that destination, allowing the feeling of well-being to wash over you, deciding you're going to have a good day, choosing to be calm under pressure and practicing that. So now that's your new habit. You're not reacting or over-responding. You are calm and serene and responding in a calm, clear manner. When you see yourself doing that and you practice it, you practice being relaxed, you practice thinking about what you really want, you practice seeing it in your mind, you practice investing a few moments in your day in calmness. That changes the way you habitually behave during the day. Create a wonderful, calm day. Enjoy being more productive today than any other Monday in the past. Have some fun. Take some breathers, some opportunities to take deep breaths in and out. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.